Everyone in school saw Hoban as a burger-flipping loser and used him as a punching bag. This was especially true for his class bully Paco, who was a huge streamer on the platform YouTube. The bully, who looked like he graduated high school 36 times, was celebrating hitting 700,000 subscribers. He was only nice for the cameras, but deep down he was a high-level delinquent and a trash human being. During his celebratory stream at lunchtime, he decided to collab with his classmate Rumi, who was fresh to YouTube and ran a beauty tips channel. Since Hoban was the class toy, he was used as the canvas to show Rumi's terrible makeup skills. He looked like an off-brand Pennywise and was forced to smile through it. He wished they would share the revenue with him since he was a prop and was as broke as me and editor Slime.
Yeah, to be fair, we are broke.
Yeah, we're broke. A girl named Gail was walking past and saw the commotion, so she joined the other students to watch the humiliation as Snapper the cameraman tried to get the best shot for the viewers. Hoban rushed to the bathroom to wash his face as soon as the stream ended. Things got worse in class when Snapper started stomping him out for not smiling early enough during the stream. The cameraman was just a parasite who used his affiliation to Paco to pick on the weak. Rumi changed the topic when she revealed that she made 30,000 yen from that one stream. Paco wanted her to repay him for the exposure with a different kind of exposure. Both Hoban and Snapper were gobsmacked to hear the kind of money she just made over one lunch break. Both simultaneously wondered if they should start a channel. Snapper asked Pago how to go about joining the platform. High school students had to use their parents' bank account to receive any revenue. Snapper didn't have access to his parents' account ever since he spent some money from their savings. The cameraman remembered that Hoban's mother was bedridden in the hospital with a chronic illness, so he asked to use her details. He could only clench his fist in frustration as they joked about her dying. After school, he paid her a visit. The boy put on a brave face as he lied to her about not getting in a fight. He paid the 30,000 hospital bill before leaving. While flipping burgers, he thought about how he only made 5,000 a day at his dead-end job. The only good thing about his workplace was Bomi. Hoban folded every time she spoke to him. She was the idol for the fast food joint because of her model good looks. Their shift got interrupted when Paco came in there to shoot some content. Hoban tried to hide his face. He was sure that the overgrown high schooler's visit wasn't going to end well, and he was correct. The guy tried to get Bomi's number by giving her an impossible challenge. She had to make the burger pictured on the poster in 30 seconds. Paco got the digits if she failed. Hoban wasn't about to let that creep win, so he quickly made the burger and delivered it within the target time. His colleagues praised him for saving their idol. Bomi watched him with a quiet admiration. Later that night, Hoban made some instant noodles for Snapper, who had come over to use his mother's username and account to create his gaming channel. Hoban added his spit to the meal as a special ingredient because he wasn't happy with the arrangement. Snapper was about to make 30,000 yen for getting 30 kills on this online shooter, but Hoban tripped on a power cord, causing the monitor to go off. The hot instant noodles splashed all over Snapper's face. He got annoyed and started to stomp on Hoban again. This time he went too far and said that Hoban was the reason his mother had cancer. The doormat wasn't going to take the abuse anymore, and he blinded Snapper with some kimchi and hit him with a generational uppercut. He realized that fighting wasn't as difficult as he thought it would have been. The two had a messy brawl that was getting streamed to the world. Ewell watched the train wreck while sitting like L from Death Note. He started to feel the pain after the fight. His room was trashed, and fixing it was going to cost him money he didn't have. He turned off the computer switch before going to bed. The following morning, he was woken up by Snapper's call. The cameraman learnt that their little fight was live streamed to the world. But wait, there's more. The content from the live stream was posted as a video. When Hoban turned off the PC, it was a stupid feature of the platform. Snapper started to cry because he couldn't delete it since he didn't have access to the account. Hoban checked to see how bad it was and felt that his life was officially over. However, just as he was about to delete the video, he saw some comments stating that he was going to make money for the viral clip. He kept it up after doing the calculation. Snapper came to school and was a laughingstock. He wanted to regain some aura by picking on a nerd, but the brain box had better hands than Pacquiao and beat him down. The cameraman looked over to Paco for help, but all he got was that snake oil salesman's smile. He knew he was now a victim. All the while, Hoban was paying for the hospital bills with a different kind of smile on his face. He was ecstatic to see the views go up, because that meant more money. It was currently on over 11 million views. Snapper confronted him and started to cry like a dramatic toddler. The cameraman demanded half of the money. Hoban replied with a kick to his family jewels. This quickly exploded into round 2. The two stopped their scrapping to have a chat. Hoban made it clear that he wasn't going to give him some of the money, so Snapper revealed that he recorded their second fight and he was going to post it on the channel he just created using his mom's details. With that leverage, he proposed they work together to make a ton of money. It was his production skills that put Paco on the map, and he could replicate it for their channel. He offered to manage the account, but would take 90% of the money and give Hoban 10%. The loser knew his worth now and walked away from the deal. Snapper started to panic, and rather offered Hoban 90% of the revenue. Their main content would be confronting bullies live. Their first target was Paco, the midlife crisis-looking tyrant. Luckily, he was also a clout chaser, so featured them in his next lunchtime stream. The audience couldn't believe the viral duo were in his class. They just stood there tensely doing what was asked of them. Paco gave the details for his ongoing giveaway for those who liked and subscribed, when Hoban interrupted and called it a scam. The guy was only using it to harvest subs. The chopped boy went further. He removed his shirt to show his bruises and exposed Paco to be a punk who picked on the weak behind the scenes. His nice guy personality was only an act. Paco turned to Hoban with that psychopath look. The students started to gather again, but this time they knew they would be witnessing a public execution. Paco revealed that the stream ended just before his little outburst because his phone ran out of battery. He gave Hoban a massive slap for his stunt and proceeded to hit him with the infinite spank combo. Snapper was a pro cameraman and already started to stream the beatdown with the best angle. Over 33,000 people were watching. They couldn't believe this was the same gentle Paco. The slaps had turned into punches. Hoban wanted more of the YouTube money after getting a taste, so he put up a fighting stance. Paco entered rage overdrive. He slipped part of his shirt to show his gang-affiliated tattoos, but low-key it looked like he was doing a striptease. Hoban got intimidated by the streamer's huge frame and psycho eyes. That fear was replaced by anger when Paco made fun of his mother's condition. The scrawny twig charged in for the takedown, but forgot that his opponent weighed significantly more than him. Paco didn't even move 1 millimeter, but he was impressed with Hoban's speed. He rewarded the loser by picking him up and slamming him to the ground. He was about to start the ground and pound, but Munsong interrupted to let them know that they were disturbing his nap, and he didn't want that to happen again. A viewer named Ding revealed that Munsong was a rising MMA star. Paco knew he didn't stand a chance, so quickly got off Hoban and left. The anemic loser was in awe by how Munsong made the room tense with a few words. Snapper was impressed with the grit that Hoban displayed. He gained some fans because of it. Paco arrived home relieved that he didn't get exposed. He almost got a heart attack when he charged his phone to see that the whole incident was streamed live. By the following day, it was trending on the web, and Paco did the classic apology video, but the idiot didn't realize he was still live as he insulted his audience for believing that he was remorseful. Paco lost so many subscribers and became irrelevant. On the other hand, Hoban's popularity increased. Snapper had a meeting with him to discuss how they could make their videos longer so that they could put in more ads to increase revenue. Otherwise, their careers would be over before it even begun. Hoban did some research on how to get better at fighting and accidentally stumbled on a channel when he made a typo. It had 0 subscribers and views, but the user had posted plenty of videos. He clicked on the first lesson and was greeted by a chicken-masked master called Samdak. He started by outlining the mental aspects of fighting before going into practical techniques. The main point was to never get worked up during a fight, because loss of mental control would lead to poor decision-making and technique. Samdak then moved on to showing Hoban how to get hit without getting hurt. After watching the video, he thought it was a scam and went to bed. He quit his dead-end job and went all in with YouTube. Bomi overheard some colleagues talking about his departure and asked for his number before he left. Over the next couple days, Hoban couldn't believe that he was talking to his longtime crush. Snapper wanted to know how Hoban felt about reaching 100,000 subscribers. He was likely the first normal person to achieve this feat in 2 videos. Even celebrities struggle to do it. Rumi wanted to ride the wave and suggested she and Hoban stream. Her seductive persuasion was interrupted by Paco. The guy was fuming that Hoban ruined his channel. Hoban recalled Samdak's comments about how worked-up opponents were easy to read. He dodged Paco's punches with ease. Since the chicken headmaster was right so far, he tried to use the technique that allowed him to get hit without getting hurt. However, Paco pulled his punch when he saw Snapper videoing with his mini studio rig. The undercover unk backed off and promised to get his revenge. After realizing Samdak was legit, Hoban wondered who he was. He later went to town and was recognized by a sketchy couple. They approached as fans to lower Hoban's guard, and before he knew it, they had him in an alleyway robbing him. He didn't have any money on him, so they stole his phone, which devastated him because Bomi's number was on it. Snapper tried to help, but he was knocked out with 1 punch. As the couple left, the cameraman got up and revealed that he started streaming when he saw the couple take him into the alleyway. They were currently live. The viewers egged him on to get his phone back. Hoban welcomed his fans to the rebranded channel called Viral Hit. They tracked down the criminal pair at a karaoke bar. Hoban confronted the guy and demanded his phone back. He already started to use Samdak's advice as he stood on the dominant side of his opponent. This made it easier for him to read the incoming punch in time to block with his face. The technique was to move in and get hit before the punch picked up speed and became too powerful. Hoban then began to weave like a boxer and moved his head to clash with the hooligan's fists. Everyone was confused as to what was going on because Hoban was taking punches but wasn't going down. The viewers started to leave because it was becoming too weird. However, Ding got them interested when they commented that Hoban would win the fight. They pointed to the criminal's fists, which had gotten swollen from the repeated hitting of Hoban's thick skull. The adrenaline numbed him to what was going on, but now he could feel every stupid punch he threw. The guy rolled on the floor in pain as Hoban took home the win. With his busted-up face, he thanked his viewers for the support. Gail watched on her phone and gave a proud smile. Viral Hit had a total of 25 million views from 4 videos. Their next payout came, and it was over 2 million yen, and the duo split it. But Snapper was worried that their videos would get demonetized. Their content fell into the violent and hyper-aggressive category, which was high risk. Rumi spotted him as she was live streaming and wanted to do an instant collaboration, but Snapper led the escape because he didn't want her to steal their viewers. They happened to stop at a clothing store, and Hoban admired the tracksuit in the display window. He almost fainted when he saw the 140,000 price tag. He was stunned when Snapper went inside and casually started spending like his bank account was limitless. Hoban got a message that left him speechless. The following day, he was in the tracksuit that cost a month's pay at his old job. He waited for someone in an area filled with couples, which made him feel uncomfortable. So he decided to start live streaming to calm his nerves. This caught the attention of those around. He thought some girls recognized him and wanted a photo, but they were fangirling over another famous YouTuber called Ji-woon. The guy took pictures with the groupies, but forgot about them as soon as he saw Bomi. He tried to talk to her, and was surprised when she pointed to Hoban and revealed that she was meeting up with him. The chat was bewildered that a twig loser like Hoban was on a date with a supermodel. She also noted that they had the same tracksuit top on. Hoban felt like the man as he walked down the street with her. Gail was starting to give me stalker vibes because she was following them. Hoban went into a fantasy world where he was married to Bomi, and they had a family. This was all from an accidental hand touch. I mean, Bomi also blushed too. The professional punchbag snapped out of his delusion when they arrived at a cafe. His confidence was hurt a little when he heard people commenting on how Bomi was out of his league. He removed his tracksuit top to make it look like they were not a couple. They sat down to eat their food, but Hoban gave short one-word answers when Bomi tried to learn more about him. She assumed that he didn't want to hang out and cut the date short. But Hoban confessed that he thought that she would be embarrassed to be seen with him. He had never even spoken to a girl, let alone go out with one. Also, this was his first time in such a fancy cafe. These were all new things for him, so he didn't know how to behave, and he couldn't order any food because he wouldn't be able to concentrate on eating whilst her pretty face was before him. She noticed that he was sweating. He explained that he sat on the sunny side of the table because he knew it would be too hot for her. Bomi was smitten by his openness and decided to carry on with their date. Gail the creep was around and impressed with Hoban's save. They enjoyed a walk in the park when Bomi got a call from an old friend from grade school. His heart sunk when she mentioned it was Moonsong. His fantasy family with Bomi soon became a nightmare where Moonsong was married to her instead. He knew he didn't stand a chance against such a high-level Chad. He lied and stated that he was good friends with him. He was about to get exposed because Moonsong was standing right there. She asked the MMA star if he knew Hoban. The guy stood there like a child in trouble, hoping that he would play along. Moonsong nonchalantly confirmed and stated that they were in the same class. Hoban didn't expect the guy to play along. Anyone with eyes could tell that these two had never spoken before, but the star broke the ice with some YouTube talk. Hoban felt relief for just a moment, because he soon felt out of place as the trio walked. Bomi and Moonsong looked like a couple with Hoban as the awkward third wheel. The twig wanted to leave, so he lied about having an ingrown toenail that was hurting. The loser limped as he walked away to sell his propaganda, but Bomi was sad to see him dip. Turns out that Snapper was live streaming the whole interaction, and the chat found Hoban's excuse funny. The cameraman dragged him to the side and gave him a pep talk to fight for his crush. He made him see that Bomi was interested since she invited him out and paid for the food. He egged him on to confess his feelings for her. Hoban confidently walked and Snapper followed, hoping to get the shot of him getting rejected by Bomi. Deep down, he didn't believe the ugly guy stood a chance. He paused when he bumped into someone he knew. All the while, Hoban joined the childhood friends ready to compete for her love, but Moonsong had to dip because he was training for a big fight. Him leaving like that confirmed that he only came to catch up with an old colleague, and there was nothing romantic going on between them. Moonsong said that Hoban was a good fighter. He knew that Hoban purposely took the punches early in his last fight to minimize the pain. He was looking forward to his next video. Hoban wondered if Samdak's videos weren't so secret. Now that he was left alone with Bomi, he had her blushing as he was about to confess his feelings to her. He suddenly paused and dragged Snapper from out of the bushes like he was a stray cat. Hoban recoiled when he noticed that Snapper's face looked like Ilya Topuria's after his fight with Justin. Paco kicked him in the face before he could warn them. The bully had come for his revenge. Hoban told Bomi to go, but Paco wasn't going to allow it. The twig was about to lose his cool, but remembered the chicken head master's lesson on keeping calm. He rather tried to get Paco riled up by teasing him. It worked because the fake high schooler came in with a punch. Hoban prepared his head to block, but Paco watched his last fight so counted with a sweet uppercut that changed Hoban's life. He wished he watched the second video to learn the next move. Our guy quickly folded back to being a victim because he didn't know what to do. He knew this beatdown in front of his crush was going to create an emotional wound that wouldn't easily heal. He asked Paco to let her go home, but the bully had his lackeys hold her as she watched the thrashing. Paco wanted him to strip and apologize to his live stream. He had Snapper on camera duty. All he could do was apologize to Hoban for showing Paco his location. Bomi got fed up and broke free. She slapped Paco for his wild request, but little did she know that the tyrant practiced fundamental equality. He didn't want the stream to see him hit her, so he asked Snapper to turn the camera away. Hoban quickly stripped to his boxers as the rain fell. Paco started to panic when the guy went to pull his pants down, because his channel would be permabanned for indecent exposure. Luckily, Moonsong saw the stream and made it in time to stop Hoban. The superstar effortlessly defeated Paco and his boys. He prevented Bomi from going to Hoban and escorted her home. He told her that the guy needed to be left alone. Hoban started to cry as soon as she left. Gale watched from the bushes as she felt sorry for him. Hoban didn't show up to school or post for the next month. Pago, on the other hand, was back streaming and played to his delinquent lifestyle. The audience loved it, and Snapper had become the new punching bag in Hoban's absence. Bomi tried to call him, but he didn't pick. The guy had to evolve if he wanted to prevent such a thing from happening again. The next fighting technique he had to learn would take a month, and he was ready to put in the work to change. During that interval, Pago wanted to do something big to get his channel to reach 1 million subs, so he offered to rehire Snapper as his cameraman if he could get Hoban to come to school for another walloping. Snapper was a bottom feeder only looking out for himself. He never saw Hoban as a friend, so he went to see his sick mother to get the house address. However, he had a change of heart when the mother revealed that Hoban had told her about his new friend and how he was enjoying school thanks to him. Snapper couldn't sell him out after hearing this, so he took a beating from Paco for failing. The bully's punches had extra malice behind them because the viewers were going to pay him 50,000 to see him fight Hoban. Snapper warned Hoban of the arrangement and told him not to come no matter what. It was too late because the boy had already returned to school. Gale had a sixth sense for trouble and frantically ran to the class to see the brawl. Hoban had a cool, confident demeanor as he tossed his phone to Snapper to film him. He then stepped up to Pago and stated that Viral Hit was back, and he was about to fight and beat a regular person. He head blocked the big guy's palm strike and started to bob and weave. Paco had already seen this before and went in with the uppercut. Hoban counted and hit him with a low kick. He practiced this over 10,000 times. The old-looking rat teased the attempt at first, but ding from the chat revealed that the kick hit its target. Moonsong sat up from his nap and explained that Hoban just landed a calf kick. It was an upgraded low kick that even pro fighters feared. It dealt instant damage on the first hit. Paco started to feel the pain. Moonsong already knew that Hoban would use it because it was complementary to the first technique. The rookie fighter then ran around the class to put his distance between himself and Paco. However, he suddenly turned and hit the bully with another calf kick when he got too close. Paco had a few brain cells and started to counter the kicks with a leg check. This was all part of Hoban's plan. Just when Paco focused on the calf kick, he came in with an overhand hook that sent Unk flying and everyone's jaw to the ground in shock. During his month break, he had also practiced this through swimming while making a fist. Paco's lackeys were ready to slide for their boss. Snapper thought that he shut them up with his outburst, but they were really scared of Moonsong, who was standing behind him. The pro superstar knew that the overhand hook was coming next. He commended Hoban on an awesome fight. The below-average boy let out an emotional cry as he asked his viewers to subscribe and turn on notifications. Please subscribe and like the video. Hoban knew that he got lucky. The result had a positive impact on his school life because Paco didn't show his face after getting beaten by his victim for all to see. His fame and channel tanked again. On the other hand, Hoban thanked his viewers for helping him reach 150,000 subscribers. He was now able to afford nice things for his mother. Snapper came to visit her and overheard Hoban reveal that it was Moon Song who he described as his new friend. The cameraman was hurt, but after what they just went through, Hoban saw him as a friend now. Snapper later called a meeting because it was time to hire an editor to help take their channel to the next level. He had been doing it himself till now, but they needed a pro. The duo sent out a request to their audience. There was some fooling around in the chat, but Ding disclosed that they had the skills. Snapper was hesitant but accepted to have an interview. They both assumed that Ding was an old man based on the way they typed. The interview was scheduled to be held at the school, and the duo were surprised that Ding was a girl from their school, and I was shocked that the girl was Gale. Snapper had heard about her. She was a first year that everyone agreed was cute, but she spoke like an old man, so they thought she was weird. According to sources, she grew up abroad and learned the language online. She grabbed Snapper's finger when he pointed at her. The cameraman went into the same fantasy world as Hoban, but Gale was his wife. Hoban snapped him out of his trance. She showed them her edits, and she added an intro to the video. Snapper wanted to give her the job just on that alone, but Hoban wanted to see more. He was happy with her production quality, so they hired her. She had the talent to work for much bigger channels, but she chose Viral Hit because she had been low-key stalking them. Bomi watched as they introduced their new editor on their next stream. She walked home sad because Hoban had not contacted her since he took the beating in front of her. Her thoughts were interrupted by the commotion around an arcade. She went to look and found that Taehun had beaten up thugs and was chilling playing a game like nothing happened. Viral Hit viewers had already compiled some information about him and sent it to Snapper. He called a meeting to present it to Hoban. Taehun was a high schooler like them and was a pro fighter in the Max MMA League, but he was fired for his behavior. All the students at his high school had been hit at least once by him. The stories about him were not good at all. The guy had been practicing taekwondo since he was little. Snapper tried to look down on the martial art, but Gale corrected him, stating that those who practiced taekwondo had some of the hardest kicks. The most dangerous were those who used the combat style, which aimed to knock out opponents. Hoban wanted to know why they were telling him about Taehun. He freaked out when Snapper told him that he was going to be his next opponent. He was the next bully they wanted to see Hoban fight. Hoban knew that Taehun was a professional fighter, which was on a completely different level than a street thug like Paco. To make things worse, the back kick was a technique that all fighters feared when facing a taekwondo practitioner. But little did Hoban know that his chicken mask master had the perfect counter. Taehun wasn't your normal bully. He beat his target's friends so that they would feel shame and despair, knowing that they couldn't do anything to stop him. He also had this obsession on wanting to be rich. Gale was livid when she heard how terrible he was. Hoban still didn't feel like he had a personal reason to fight the guy. Taehun was later confronted by the boss of the thugs he beat at the arcade. The kangaroo kicked one of the lackeys after asking the boss for 100 yen. The lead thug looked down on Taehun when he realized the guy was a taekwondo practitioner. That was a huge mistake because he found himself tasting the bottom of Taehun's shoe as he ate kicks to the face. The bully started his sick game as he asked for 1,000,000 yen while beating the boss. Snapper hid and recorded the fight. After that display, he didn't think it would be a good idea for Hoban to fight the guy. He quickly hid and escaped when Taehun looked in his direction. He went to show Hoban the footage, thinking that he made a clean getaway, but Taehun caught up to him. Snapper tried to explain why he was recording when Gale rushed over like she was going to do something, but she quickly folded. Taehun recognized Hoban as the star of the Viral Hit channel. He also knew that his audience had been requesting that they fight. He started his twisted game by asking for the channel since it made a lot of money. He kicked Snapper after making his request. The crazy guy asked for his standard 100 yen and switched between the two requests while kicking Snapper like his head was a World Cup ball. The cameraman warned Hoban not to give up their channel because they had worked so hard on it. Taehun's overbearing aura was on another level, but Hoban still tried his calf kick and overhand hook, but he couldn't even get close to the evolved bully. The loser went back to default and gave up. He put on that fake corporate smile and offered the channel because he didn't want to see his friends get hurt. Taehun slapped Hoban and allowed them to leave. Snapper was sent to the hospital because the kicks cracked his ribs. The cameraman sat on the bed annoyed that Hoban gave up so easily. His last fight against Paco made him feel like weak people like him could also show courage. Hoban made it clear that Paco was a delinquent, but Taehun was a professional fighter. Internally, the rehabilitated loser was terrified and didn't want to get hurt. He left the room as Gale entered. She came to check on Snapper, but he pled with her to give him some time alone. He started to cry when the coast was clear. Hoban overheard him expressing his frustration that he couldn't put up more of a fight in front of Gale, and how pathetic he must have looked. Hoban resonated with those feelings because not long ago, he was beaten and forced to expose himself in front of his crush. This sparked something inside Hoban. so he went to the arcade and challenged Tae-hun to a fight in front of his viewers. He asked for 1 month to prepare and would give up the channel if he lost. Tae-hun smashed up the arcade machine behind Hoban out of frustration and agreed to the terms. He secluded himself again for his third lesson on how to fight. Samdak had a video on how to beat a taekwondo fighter. The chicken mask master got him nervous when he made it clear that he didn't stand a chance as a regular person against a pro. However, in a brawl outside a ring there was hope. Taekwondo could be nullified if the environment was controlled, specifically, fighting in a place where the practitioner couldn't use their feet freely. Hoban chose a tight alleyway on a rainy day. He was then told to sharpen the skills he had already learnt. Samdak made it clear that he only had a 5% chance of winning with control of the environment. The master had a move that would increase it to 40%. Hoban used the jet from the cold water bath to improve his overall stamina. He was also instructed to train his core muscles and grip. Snapper and Gale passed by to pay Hoban a visit and found him hanging in the closet like a piece of dry-aged meat. The cameraman was streaming since they needed to post content to make money. As soon as Gale saw him doing crunches, she understood that it would help him withstand the back kicks. She stomped on him to increase the effectiveness of the training. The audience loved seeing him getting stomped out by a lady. Even Snapper was jealous. Hoban continued his training till the day of his fight came. He chose an alley near his house as the fight location. He also picked a day that it was forecasted to rain. Sadly for him, the skies suddenly cleared as if Tae-hun paid them. He had to think fast, so he located Tae-hun in the men's washroom where he hosed down the whole area, including the pro bully. He just created the perfect conditions to nullify his kicks, while also annoying Tae-hun. The pro fighter prepared for a kick, but his foot slipped. Hoban rushed at him and got punched in the face. I think he forgot that the guy was a pro fighter. No chance he didn't know how to throw a punch. Snapper caught up and walked in on his man getting slapped like he got the wrong answer. Hoban countered with a calf kick as Tae-hun recoiled for a huge hit. The chat realized that he was wearing water shoes. He trained in the bathhouse with them on because that prevented him from slipping. He had to last 3 minutes so they could put ads on the video. Hoban was confused as to how Tae-hun could move so quickly with the wet floor and no water shoes. The chat revealed that he was using advanced footwork. Hoban hit him with another calf kick, but he was taking a lot more damage in exchange. He kept on repeating the same attack before switching to a tackle. The guy had some PTSD from the last time he tried it against Paco, but this time he learnt the proper technique and did a double leg takedown. According to Samdak, this increased his chance of winning by over 50%. Everyone was expecting him to go for a knockout blow, but he performed a cross choke. His cross-hand hanging practice was for this move. He counted to 10 because his master said his opponent would be knocked out in 10 seconds. Tae-hun was still conscious as he was finishing the count. Turns out that Hoban rushed to execute the cross choke so didn't do it properly. Tae-hun tossed him off like a bad smell and dangled one of Hoban's water shoes. He allowed the twig to take him down so that he could secure it. Hoban had a look of terror on his face like his dad was removing his belt to beat him. Now that Tae-hun had at least one stable leg, it was over. Moonsong and Bomi were watching the fight at a cafe. He turned it off as soon as Tae-hun put the shoe on, because he knew she wouldn't want to see what was coming next. Hoban thought about all the training he did and how it was all for naught. The chat told him to fight on. Snapper let him know that he was about to mess up the money. That was what sprung him back into action. All that hope was crushed when he experienced Tae-hun's kick. He tried to counter, but the pro hit him with a devastating combo, which ended with the infamous back kick. He was lucky that it was Tae-hun's weaker foot that hit him, otherwise he would have been dead. Tae-hun thought the fight was over and was about to take over the channel, but Hoban got up. He stood inside a cubicle with his fighting stance and asked his viewers to stay tuned. He also made it clear that his crazy motivation wasn't about money but about the pride of his friend. Tae-hun took the bait and attacked with another back kick. Hoban evaded by grabbing onto the top bar of the cubicle and landed on Tae-hun. He had one more move that he practiced, a baseball choke. Moonsong had the stream back on and was stunned by what he was seeing. Meanwhile, Tae-hun got a flashback to his first defeat in MMA. He started to tap like that time, but it was a street fight, so Hoban held on tight as he counted to 10. The lad couldn't risk his opponent getting up again. The adrenaline rushing through his body made him unable to hear Snapper's calls to let go. He only released once he reached 10. Turns out that Moonsong was the one who defeated Tae-hun with the same baseball choke in the past. He woke up after the boys gave him some first aid. He grabbed Hoban by the neck, but let go when Hoban returned his watch, stating that he was worried. Tae-hun had a painful expression on his face for a moment, before throwing Hoban down. He acknowledged Hoban's win, and promised to make him regret life if he saw his face again. Hoban segued to a shameless ad read for a medicated body spray that swore to keep people smelling fresh. He ended the live stream with a victorious cheer. Gale was given the footage to edit, and it got 3 million views so fast. Hoban later did a thank you stream for hitting 190,000 subs. Meanwhile, at the meat market, there was a monster lying in wait. Mangi casually lifted a 200-kilogram full beef carcass while watching Viral Hit's latest video. He was surprised that Taehun lost and guessed that his YouTube channel would blow up if he defeated Hoban. I don't think plot armor could save our brittle MC if he took this fight. To make things worse, Mangi took a fancy to Bomi when he went to get food at the restaurant. She refused to give her number to him and was freaked out by his advances. Back at school, Taehun was still on Hoban's mind. He didn't think the taekwondo practitioner was a bad guy deep down. However, Hoban got salty when he found out that Taehun had the internet going wild because he looked so majestic when he was knocked out and covered in water. Snapper was sure the guy would get 200,000 subs with ease if he started a YouTube channel. During that interval, Gale was getting picked on by a group of big kids in her class called the Comedy Crew. They found the way she spoke to be funny. Snapper was passing by and tried to intervene, but these first years didn't respect their upperclassmen and laid Snapper flat on his face. The ringleader was about to hit Gale, but Hoban smoothly came in and stopped his hand. The crew couldn't believe how small the famous Viral Hit was and started to pet him like a cute dog. Hoban tried to intimidate them using Taehun's playbook, but it didn't work. The Comedy Crew backed off as soon as Munsong came in with his death glare. The trio later regrouped to talk about Gale's bullies. Those guys shot prank-style videos on YouTube. Hoban got in Gale's face and promised to deal with the bullies if he was to face them again. That night, Gale fantasized about Hoban saving her from her bullies in the most aura-filled way possible. She had to hear from him, so messaged the guy. Hoban got some rest after his little chat with her, and recalled Munsong telling him to call Bomi, because ghosting her wasn't right. The following day, Bomi got another visit from Mangi, who scanned her like she was a snack. He commented on how good she looked and wanted to know when she got off work. Hearing a guy that big and strong talking about how he was going to stalk you is a girl's worst nightmare. She was also closing late that night, which worried her. Hoban later came to see her and ordered the dessert they were supposed to have on their last date. Bomi angrily told him that they didn't sell that item. She still threw together a makeshift version with the ingredients they had available and slammed it on the table. Hoban understood her hostility. The guy didn't communicate with her for over 2 months. Bomi couldn't help but laugh when she saw the notes he wrote on his hand to help him remember what to say. Hoban took this as a positive sign and started to tease her. She changed the topic and commented about the lady editor they hired. Hoban panicked hard when Bomi asked if he thought their new addition was cute. Gale spawned at the restaurant and demanded he answer. He confidently told her that she was cute and popular at school. She joked around with Hoban and gave Bomi an item that was clearly meant for Hoban. Bomi could tell that Gale was bowing out for Hoban's attention when she made an excuse that she had an ingrown toenail and left. Gale now understood how Hoban felt when he used that excuse on stream. The following day, the Comedy Crew played a fake snake prank on Bomi, which caused her to twist her leg and land on the road, instead of helping her up. The guys asked for permission to use the footage. She didn't even get the chance to process it when a car came speeding towards her. All the while, the trio later did research on the Comedy Crew by watching a few of their videos. The crew presented themselves as respectful to those that they pranked by apologizing and asking for permission to use the footage. That was what got them their 700,000 subs. Hoban was stunned to hear that they were that popular. Upon closer inspection, Gale noticed something about their editing, but her thoughts were interrupted by the Comedy Crew. They picked on the trio for a little while before leaving. Hoban had a bit of joy when he received a text from Bomi, but it soon turned to shock when he read it. The guy rushed to the hospital because her injured leg had to be put in a cast. Hoban walked in just as Munsong listened to her explanation on what happened. The car stopped just in time, but Hoban was livid when he learned that the Comedy Crew stood there laughing at the whole situation. He sent an apology message to Bomi that he wasn't the first to be at her bedside. He wished her a speedy recovery and left her in Munsong's care. Hoban stormed off as Snapper streamed, and he told the viewers that they were going to crush the Comedy Crew. After some brainstorming, they realized that the fools were faking their pranks. Hoban wanted to use this to hit them with a fatal blow. Rumi was still putting pressure on them to stream, so they used this as an opportunity to get their revenge on the bullies and told her to go work with them. She did just that, and collaborated with the Comedy Crew. They did a fake prank where they spilt coffee on her. As soon as the cameras cut, Rumi commented on how easy it was fooling their viewers. The leader of the crew ranted on about how stupid the viewers were, and how they were only good for milking cash. They lit up some cancer sticks because they were rebels at their core. The leader then stated that their next video was going to expose Viral Hit as a fraud who staged his fights. Rumi let them know that according to sources, the fights were real. The ringleader was willing to lie, and they tried to blackmail Rumi to join their plan. They took a video of her calling her viewers stupid. Turns out that she was also taping what he was saying, and it was in fact Viral Hit's phone that she was live streaming from. She tossed it to Snapper and tagged Hoban in to finish off the crew. Samdak had taught him how to beat multiple opponents. The ringleader noticed that Hoban looked bigger and more intimidating, which frightened them. However, all that tension quickly disappeared when he slipped and exposed the height boosters he was using. Someone called DDG to come collect his stilts. The chat found his epic fail hilarious. Hoban knew he was in trouble now that his bluff was exposed. He darted down an alleyway, and for the first time, he wasn't hearing Samdak's voice in his head or relying on the video while fighting. He blocked the first punch with his head and countered with some calf kicks on both the lackeys. Hoban finally felt like everything he had learnt was coming together naturally. He worried that his attacks didn't work when the guys just stood there. Munsong and the other fighters at his gym were watching and knew that that kick did real damage. That was why the lackeys couldn't move. Munsong told the guys that Hoban practiced 10,000 kicks in 1 month, so he's not surprised that his technique was effective. What he wasn't sure about was why the ringleader wasn't moving since he didn't get kicked. Munsong's master Logan explained that it was due to Hoban's natural intimidation. Our boy was low-key, looking tough as he stood there. He started to love the excitement the adrenaline made him feel. He was ready to fight. Luckily for the comedy crew, Gale gave them the perfect excuse to back down when she grabbed one of their ladies hostage. Snapper and Gale ended the stream with their victory cheer, but no one noticed that something had unlocked inside Hoban. The guy was starting to enjoy fighting. The comedy crew had to give an extreme apology for their actions, but it wasn't enough to save their channel. They had to close it due to the backlash. After the end of that chapter, Viral Hit reached 210,000 subs. Meanwhile, a nervous Bomi made her way home alone. Hoban wasn't comfortable with that and informed her that he was in the area and he would meet up with her to escort her home. Her smile of relief soon turned to horror when she bumped into Mangi. The guy had a facial expression that would get him life in prison. Munsong grabbed his hand before it got to Bomi's personal space. He tried to get Mangi mad by pressing his chest. Munsong went for the armbar. Mangi lifted him up, attempting to slam him into the concrete, but the superstar evaded. He got a bit serious when he realized that Mangi was an elite Korean wrestler. Hoban rushed in like a madman just as the fight was about to heat up. Mangi plucked him like a mango and violently threw him to the ground, knocking him out. The big man was the youngest Korean wrestling champion in history. He also had a terrible weakness for cute girls and a strong hatred for cool men since they could approach girls without it being seen as creepy. Hoban fell into depression after being beaten in front of Bomi for the second time. It was the police who ended up having to break up the fight. Snapper tried to cheer him up by pointing out that their fans didn't see it. That was quickly debunked. Mangi was recording the fight and posted that he beat Viral Hit. The viewers demanded a rematch since they didn't see it. Snapper wasn't going to let his cash cow fight against that monster, so he promised to use his PR skills to get him out of this fight. That night he went live and explained the situation to the audience, and they started to understand. Hoban didn't feel comfortable with the way things ended with Mangi. Samdak already said it was impossible for a beginner to defeat a grappler, so he didn't make such a video. That feeling in his chest got tighter. He went to Taehun to teach him the back kick to use against Mangi. The Taekwondo fiend let him know that he didn't stand a chance against a wrestler. He then gave Hoban the kick he promised to give if he ever saw him again. Hoban shocked him when he said Taekwondo was the strongest martial arts he had faced so far. Taehun had to help him after hearing that compliment. He trained the twig how to do his signature kick by running backwards. As soon as he learnt the technique, he called Snapper and told him that he was going to the meat market to challenge Mangi. The cameraman almost had a heart attack hearing this. Hoban approached the big guy like Munsong did and started to massage his chest to get him annoyed. Snapper arrived very quickly and began the stream with a worried look on his face. Hoban then moved on to calf kicks, but his legs rather started hurting when he finished his assault. Korean wrestlers had some of the most conditioned legs due to the nature of their training. Hoban retreated backwards, but Mangi was fast too and kept up. The twig tried to use Mangi's momentum to deliver a powerful punch by having him run into his fists. The champion wrestler ate the attack like it was one of his huge meals. He picked him up like he was a wet towel and let him down. Hoban tried to baseball choke him, but the guy's neck was too thick. Mangi let him fail before hitting him with a suplex. Everyone was sure that Hoban wasn't going to walk ever again. He finally understood what the Chicken Mask Master was talking about. Luckily, he came prepared with a special suit that absorbed most of the impact, but it could only do it once. Hoban rose up like a zombie, and Mangi charged in to finish him off. The underfed boy hit him with a back kick right in his family jewels. Mangi must have nothing down there because he was able to recover suspiciously quickly and countered with another slam. Hoban was just reaching for anything and pulled out Mangi's wig. The chat had a moment of silence for Mangi because the guy was going bald at 17. The fight had to stop, Hoban and Snapper sat with him and listened to his story. Everything was a huge misunderstanding. He was always seen as a freak, unlike the other fighters in his sport. He did take a fancy for Bomi, but he was following her because he thought that Moonsong was stalking her and was only trying to protect her. However, the way he moved to women just made him come across as odd. Mangi just wanted to find a girlfriend before he lost all his hair. The boys cried together after hearing him out. The whole emotional testimony was caught on the viral hit channel. A lot of viewers resonated with Mangi and offered their support by subbing to his channel. Gale cried while editing the video that helped them reach 220,000 subs. Life was good. The money was flowing, meaning Hoban could take care of his mother's hospital bills and buy her nice things. He just told her that he got a new part-time job that paid well. Things kept on getting better for Hoban. The hospital was able to find a donor for his mother. The date for the operation was set, and he had the money to pay for it. He informed everyone of the good news, but little did he know that his world was about to come crashing down. The monetization icon on his videos went from green to yellow. Viral Hit got hit with limited ads and was on the brink of demonetization. Hoban was going to be eating cup noodles till he got this sorted out. And that, folks, is the end of Season 1. Thanks for watching. Now go level up. See you in the next recap. Peace.